So we were captured, set free, and now we're in a strange city. And yeah, things have taken a turn. Oh. I think that our mission to Grand Staff can be classified wholly as a complete and utter failure. Oh, was there anything back here? Anything over this way? A flower. Oh, a seed. That makes sense. And really, I'm not sure what we're supposed to be doing at this point. I'm sure once I leave the area, our characters will talk. Ooh, what's that? What uses frontier? I'm looking at the right side, so if I stop at one... Okay. Earth Ring Ultra. Interesting. I will definitely take that. Thank you. Another seed? Yep. Another seed. And who are you? Is that a dog or a cat? I feel like we need to wait for that thing to come back. And for it to hop back down and then talk to it then. Why can't I go up there? Anything over here? Dog on its way back down here. Nope. Just check out there. Oh. Animal's on its way back down. Okay. Queen Ming's been ruling us for 1,000 years. There's some hint for you guys. Cat. Alright, well that was pointless. Time wasted, but oh. Another cat. But nothing. So maybe we'll find the dog, maybe we won't. Queen Ming.
You handled your role well.
So, my performance was acceptable?
Yes, Your Highness. We should now be able to achieve our objective. Let them loose and follow them to the truth.
That was why he was snickering.
And what will we gain from this exercise?
When we have proof they work for the enemy, we'll lock them up again. They'll give us excellent leverage in negotiations with Ura, and beyond the negotiations, we stand to gain information about Grand Staff.
Grand Staff?
Ura has built a gigantic magic engine called Grand Staff, and we suspect they're plotting something.
They're not
right
wrong.
Right now, Ura poses a terrible threat to the entire world.
A threat?
Our intel has confirmed that the tragedy at Wool Highlands is connected in some way to Grand Staff. If we continue to allow Ura to run rampant, that tragedy could be repeated again at any time. The authorities in our military have voted unanimously to seize Ura as a preventative measure.
You plan to start a war?
The White Boa is already being converted into a battle flagship, and we've begun assembling troops and arms. This action is for the sake of the entire world.
I won't allow it.
While your majesty may have other ideas, the people will surely approve these safety measures. In this present magic industrial revolution, your majesty's isolationist policy is pushing the nation to its limit.
National isolation promotes peace.
This new regime must be created for the sake of world peace. We shall spread your majesty's teachings, using our nation's military might.
You think military force can avert violence?
Would you rather see a meteor fall on Numara? If that were to happen, the people who so adore you would be reduced to ashes in an instant. No, the Grand Staff should not be in the hands of those simple-minded fools in Ura. We Numarans should control it. Then we can use it to maintain peace all over the world. Numara would become the most powerful, peace-loving country in the world.
It's with her breathing.
War is inevitable, Your Majesty.
And she passes out.
Figureheads. They should just keep quiet, play their role, and smile. Someone get in here! Now!
That's no good. And that is perhaps the secret. It's very interesting to see how they run publicly and how they run privately. Another cat. Just in case. And another seed. Two seeds. Alright, what do you have? So this is an inn. Yeah, I'll spend the night. Brings up the 1,000 dream menus, but we've already gone over all of those dreams that we have unlocked. I was hoping it might unlock a new one. Ground bomb. Another seed. Okay. What's over here? And a capsule. So what's interesting is immediately before this, I recorded the first 3 episodes to our new Let's Play series, Blue Dragon. And what's interesting is, whenever I mention Lost Oddities or Odyssey to someone, inevitably Blue Dragon comes up. They were both released around the same time, both strikingly large departures from the Xbox's typical gameplay. And in many ways, two games are similar, very similar. Skill setting, turn-based combat. Certain things require action, take additional time. But in many ways, they're so very different. The political intrigue of this game is perhaps one of the better done political intrigue stories in this type of media. Blue Dragon, and if you're interested, the link to episode 1 will be in the description, is just like watching an anime. The rules go out the window, the characters are over the top, the animation is over the top, everything is great, and it's really refreshing. Out of the two, I would not dare to venture which one has a better feel to it. So, if you're liking this, you may want to check that out. Alright, we have searched and ransacked this inn. Nope, maybe not. Okay. More items. Healing herb. You know what? That was well worth 150 gold, prompting us to go up there. Probably could have gone up there either way. And admittedly, I didn't get the dream I wanted. But that's how life goes. This city is so strikingly different from what we've seen before. Whole new area, huh? Let's keep going. We'll just explore. I think this episode's going to be a little bit more laid back than all of our other episodes. What's in here? I could be wrong. I just have that feeling. Alright. Anything over there? No. Okay. Not much happening in this place. Another seed? Yep, another seed. So someone needed to talk to her. I'm guessing in order to cross to that side, we need to find the person she was waiting for. That's one thing this game does really well, is it doesn't just come out and tell you what the side quests are. There are people who make comments. Oh, and here is our dream. So, as always, I'm going to go ahead and read this. If this isn't your thing, just follow the timestamp in the description to skip it. Let's see what we can do. A dream has been revealed. The ramparts will fall to the enemy. It's just a matter of time. They will mount their attack at dawn. The main body of the Allied forces has already drawn far back from the front. Only the mercenaries are left behind the barricade. Their orders? Defend it to the death. These men, who have gone from battlefield to battlefield, knows exactly what that means. The talkative mercenary. They've just left us here to die, chuckles the one called Toma, in darkness too thick for a person to make out his own hand. They want us to buy the time so the main force can pull farther back. We're supposed to be their shields, performing our final service for our employers. His dry, papery laugh shakes the darkness. Kaim says nothing in reply. Other mercenaries must be gathered there around them in the darkness, but all keep their thoughts to themselves. Mercenaries have nothing to say to each other on the battlefield. They might be on opposite sides in the next battle. At a time like this especially, when they have to defend the barricade against the enemy's withering attack, they can't spare the time to even look at each other's faces. Kaim knows nothing about this fighter called Toma. His voice sounds young. He probably has very little experience as a mercenary. If a man grows talkative in the face of death, it means that deep down somewhere, he has a weakness that prevents him from becoming a true soldier. A mercenary with even a hint of such a weakness can never cheat death and live to see another day. It is the law of the battlefield, and a man like Toma will only learn that law in the moment before he loses his life. We're done for. We'll all be dead in the morning. We'll have that silent homecoming they talk about. I just can't stand it. I just can't stand it. In the darkness, no voices rise to second these sentiments. It's too late for talk like this. The day they chose the mercenaries' path was when they should have resigned themselves to death. They sell their lives for a little money. They prolong their lives a day at a time, by taking the lives of one enemy after another. That's what a mercenary is. Nothing more, nothing less. Hey! Can anybody hear me? How many of us are here? We're all going to die together. We'll just be a line of corpses in the morning. Don't shut up now. Answer me. No one says a thing. Instead of voices, the silent darkness begins to fill with a tangible sense of annoyance. Wordlessly to gather on the battlefield, wordlessly to fight the enemy, and just as wordlessly to die. That is the rule of a mercenary, the aesthetic of a mercenary, if such an expression may be permitted. But Toma has taken it upon himself to abandon that aesthetic. I knew it was hopeless from the start. Headquarters didn't know what they were doing. There's no way a strategy like that could work. You know what I'm talking about, don't you guys? We had to lose. It's a total mess. I wish to heck that I had joined the other side. Then we could have gotten a mountain of cash for winning. We could have drunk ourselves blind. We could have had all the women we wanted. I could have gone either way on this one, but I picked the wrong side to fight on. Hey, you! An older voice booms out of the darkness. An angry voice. Yeah? What? Answers Toma, his voice more vibrant now, having at last found someone willing to talk with him. As if to crush his momentary enthusiasm, the other man goes on. How about shutting up a while, huh? If you really want to run off that mouth that much, I can send you to the next world a step ahead of the rest of us. I'm sorry. Instantly dejected, Toma falls silent, and the darkness goes still again. The stillness is charged, however, with a deep tension, far deeper even than before Toma started talking. The veteran warriors know. Watch out for talkative men. Being talkative means trusting in words, trusting too much in words. Words are useless on the battlefield. You must take up your weapon in silence. You steel yourself in silence. You fight in silence. You kill the enemy, or he kills you, in silence. All the mercenaries have lived this way, all but the talkative ones. A soldier who clings too desperately to words may cling just as desperately to something else, to speech sweet trap of betrayal, for example, or the seduction of desertion under fire, or the lure of madness. Kaim has often seen pitiful mercenaries who, unable to endure the terror of being surrounded by the enemy, go berserk and attack men from their own side. Will Toma prove to be another such case? The possibility is great, and no doubt the other men are thinking the same thing too. In the stillness, they turn the same gazes toward Toma that they reserve for confrontations with the enemy, looking for any signs of change in his demeanor. The moment they perceive the slightest threat in him, a blade will soundlessly pierce the left side of his chest. The silence continues. Not even the usual all-night cries of insects can be heard tonight, as they were last night. Perhaps the insects knew enough to clear out in advance of the enemy's dawn attack. The thought reminds Kaim that he saw no birds in the area yesterday. Although animals came to snatch food when men first built this fortification, there's been no sign of them for several days now. Animals have mysterious powers of foreknowledge that humans have lost. This becomes painfully obvious from any visit to a battlefield. There can be little done that the animals have turned their backs on this barricade. Doubt. Right now, in some distant forest, a huge flock of blackbirds may be taking wing in search of human corpses to strip of their flesh.
It's fleece times, boys!
They already know somehow. Once the sun is fully up, the battle will be over. If they don't get here first, they'll lose their feast to a flock from another forest, their black bodies hidden against the night sky. Those birds are probably flying for all they're worth. A voice in the night. Toma's voice, weeping. Listen, you guys. I don't know how many of you are out there, but we're all going to die in the morning, or most of us. Maybe one or two will live to escape. No more. Think about it. Those are lousy odds. You've all been through this before. You're veterans, war heroes. You're probably not scared. But even so, even if you're not scared, don't you think this is stupid? Huh? Tell me. You've been through a lot more battles than I have, so tell me. What the heck are we here for? We don't hate the enemy. We don't owe the leaders on our side anything. But we've got to kill the enemy and follow our leader's orders. And we're still going to end up dead. Tell me, you guys, don't you think it's pointless? Don't you think it's stupid? The only response to Toma is the impatient click of a tongue in the darkness, followed by someone else's sigh of annoyance. I can't take it any longer. I hate this. And now he is sobbing. All I wanted was some money, and maybe something better to eat, and maybe nicer clothes. I would have been happy with that. What a mistake I've made. Taking work like this. I never should have done it. Kaim keeps all his senses open for the movement in the night. Aside from himself and Toma, 5 other soldiers are crouching down in the darkness. Not bad. All are experienced warriors. They would not have been able to put up with Toma's whining otherwise. If they let themselves get angry and started shouting at him or grabbing him by the throat or wailing at him, they would just end up consuming their strength and energy before the work started at dawn. If this is an assemblage of men who know how to keep their silence, the chances for life are that much greater, assuming, that is, that the talkative weeping man does not become too great a burden for the rest of them. Still sobbing, Toma continues to curse his fate. Suddenly, something is different. Something stirs in the silence. This could be bad, Kaim thinks, sharpening his attentiveness still more. When dawn breaks, Toma will get in our way. Because of him, the possibility for life will wither. The mercenaries know that. And because they know that, they might do whatever it takes for them to secure for themselves even the slightest added chance to live. I don't want to die here, I tell you. Not now. Not here. Like a worthless dog. You guys feel the same way, don't you? Moonlight shines down from a rift in the clouds. For a split second, Toma's tear-stained face appears in the darkness. He is even younger than Kaim imagined from the sound of his voice. He's practically a boy. The clouds hide the moon again, and thick black darkness enfolds everything once more. A dull light stirs in the depths of the darkness. Without a word, Kaim darts wind-like toward it. He is able to gauge the distance between himself and Toma during the flash of moonlight. Kaim grabs Toma's arm. Something falls hard to the ground. The dull light flashes again, this time at their feet, and melts into the darkness. A knife. Driven by the fear of death, Toma was trying to slit his own throat. Toma twists away and tries to free his arms from Kaim's grasp, but Kaim chops him in his solar plexus. Without uttering a sound, Toma passes out. With Toma slung across his back, Kaim strides through the darkness. Eventually, Toma wakes and thrashes his legs to get loose. Stop it! Let me go! Kaim lowers him to the ground. Every once in a while, the moon comes out. Check your direction when that happens. Go straight towards the setting moon, Kaim says gently. What are you talking about? It's the only way you can get out of here. Kaim has chosen the thinnest part of the enemy's encirclement. Of course, there is no guarantee that getting through here will save him. From now on, Toma will have to believe in his own luck and abilities. Are you coming too? Toma asks. No. I'm going back. You escape alone. Why? You come too. Let's both escape. Come with me. Toma clings to Kaim's arm as he pleads with him, but Kaim gives him a hard slap on the cheek. The flesh of that cheek is too soft to belong to a veteran warrior. It is the flesh of a boy, a kid. You go alone. But why? To live. That's why. What about you? You want to live too, don't you? You should run away with me. You don't want to die, do you? Want to live? No. Kaim has no great desire to live. He lives because there is nothing else he can do. He lives because he has to. Toma is far too young, his own burden of life far too fragile, for him to know the pain of such a life. We live to fight. That's what mercenaries do. But, get out of here. You're ruining it for the rest of us. You guys will never win this battle, so why not run away? It's our job to fight. With that, Kaim turns on his heels and starts back the way they came. Toma stands there, watching Kaim move away, and a moment later he himself darts into the western forest. To fight, or to flee. Kaim cannot know which holds out the greatest promise for life. He also believes it is better not to know, except... I hope you make it, boy, he mutters, walking on. The eastern sky is beginning to brighten by little by little. Soon the enemy's all-out attack will begin. From the western forest, a few birds take to the air. Perhaps it means that a small-scale battle has started in the silence, or that poor young mercenary has been felled with his back to the enemy. Kaim does not look back, or break his stride. He feels certain he has seen that talkative mercenary before the war broke out. The boy was selling fruit in the market along the highway. He was a good boy, took good care of his mother. The women of the market were saying, live a long, full life. Kaim wishes for the boy as he himself walks on, glaring at the lightning eastern sky. End. Alright, and for those of you who skipped past the dream, welcome back. I really do love those dreams. Okay, what's in here? So again, a lot of city exploring going on. And for you, what's your favorite city and game to just go and explore? When you're not out there destroying whatever enemies are in your path, which video game has done it right? Don't leave those in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinion. Just tell me the city and the video game. That way, if I don't know what it is, that's the password. Oh. Yes. Okay. So for this, we need ring to assemble. We need a bruiser ring and an anger ring. And this will give us damage up and critical up. I'll take it. What about that? We need to craft a beast ring for that. Piercing and bio ring. Osmosis ring. Yeah. Let's go and craft the rings we can. And see where we stand. Ooh, Aqua Ring Ultra. I'll take that. Bruiser Ring Ultra. I'll take one of those. Craft another one of those. Here's our Soul Ring. MP absorb up, damage up. I don't know if I'll craft the other one. So it's looking like we're gonna need lots of bruiser rings. So let's go in and make some more. And again, another Herculean ring I think will be nice. Oh, and we're gonna get some increases. How much? I have one of those equipped, but maybe having two of those could be nice. Controller seems to be acting up. Sorry about that. See what I can sell. If there is anything I can sell. First, let's go ahead and run our equipment. There's quite a bit of these. Anything else I have quite a bit of? Magic luring. It doesn't leave me with very much, does it? We just simply don't have enough. That's okay. Is that the dog we were looking for? We'll have to go back to the palace to see. Lots of seeds. What is up here? Do tell. Oh, and that is how we will get to that treasure chest down there. Another slot seed. Very nice. Can we talk to that guy? Not from here. It's okay. Still an unopened treasure chest, it looks like. So we do need to go back to that palace to check on the kid. Alright, looks like we already have all of those. Can't enter it, huh? Let's try to... Okay. I can live with that. Another seed. And it's locked, but I kind of figured it would be. Oh. And we have another dream, everyone. So just as before, if this isn't your thing, provide a timestamp in the description. For those who'd like to stick around and listen to the dream, here we go. Letters from a Weakling. Once there was a woman who came from a foreign land to marry into an old family. Her husband was from a tiny village in the mountains, but he was working in a thriving harbor town abroad when he met and fell in love with her. At the time he asked her to marry him, his father in his home country collapsed and died, being the eldest son in his family. The young man had no choice but to return to his homeland, taking her with him, of course. Her name was Mina. This was not a name used by the women of his homeland. Indeed, her name was not the only thing about her that was different. The color of her skin, hair, and eyes, the language she spoke, were all different. Had the young man's hometown been a harbor city where people of many different lands crossed paths, there would have been nothing unusual about this. In such places, there were any number of homes that welcomed foreign men and women into the family generation after generation. But this is about as deep in the country as you can get, the young man told Kaim, sighing on the night he made Mina his wife. Kaim had rushed here all the way from the harbor town in the far country to attend the wedding. At the banquet, the young man had given Kaim a look, and the two had slipped away from the festivities. They were standing in the garden, looking up at the night sky. When the eldest son marries, his wishes are of no importance. What matters is family. What matters is family. The two families negotiated the engagement, and a bride is chosen who is acceptable to the groom's parents. That's how it was with my parents, and my grandparents did the same. I know what you mean, Kaim said with a nod. Judging from the formal wedding ceremony, it was easy to imagine the highly conservative nature of the area, and just as easy to imagine the relatives had not welcomed Mina into the family. Alex, Kaim said to the young man. Yes, the young man answered, still looking up at the sky. You are the only one who can protect Mina, you know. I know that much, Kaim. Mina is a wonderful girl. I know that too, of course. The three were good friends. Kaim and Alex had worked together offloading ships at the same pier, and also together they had often gotten to the neighborhood where Mina worked in an outdoor stall. Even now, Kaim retains the bittersweet memory of Alex and Mina struggling to communicate in each other's languages. You know, Kaim, Alex said that night under the sky, I think you sensed it too, but Mina was drawn less to me than to... Kaim cut him short. Never mind, he said with a pained smile. Of course Kaim knew how Mina felt, and if he had responded to her feelings, she and Alex would not have been married here today. But Kaim had held back. Instead, he had urged Alex to pursue his love for Mina and help the two come face to face. He felt no regrets about having played the part of an unlikely Cupid for them. Destined to continue his never-ending journey, Kaim was unable to love Mina in return. One of Alex's uncles stepped out of the house, drunk.
Hey, Alex. What are you doing out here? He growled. The groom can't be absent from the reception.
Sure, I'll be right there, Alex said, turning toward his uncle. Kaim tapped him on the shoulder. Make mine happy, Alex. Leave it to me, he answered with a smile.
Come on, said the uncle. Hurry up. The groom's supposed to sit there the whole time. The entire family is here, and we're gonna drink the night away.
He grabbed Alex's hand and dragged him back in the house. The man was all smiles with Alex, but when he glanced at Kaim, his borderline polite smile could not disguise the gleam of distrust in his eye for an outsider. Kaim was sure he had noticed the same gleam, though perhaps not as openly displayed, in the eyes that alighted on Mina. So that was the kind of village to which Mina had come as a bride. You'd better make her happy, Alex, Kaim called out again towards his friend's receding form. I'm counting on you. But the uncle had his arm around Alex's shoulder, and he was noisily monopolizing his nephew's attention. Alex never heard those words from Kaim. It was 3 months later when Alex came to visit Kaim at work on the pier. "I'm in town on a buying trip, so I thought I'd stop by and say hello," Alex announced. But, judging from the fatigue evident on his friend's face, Kaim had a pretty good idea of his real reason for coming here. As casually as possible, Kaim asked, "How is Mina doing?" With a feeble smile, Alex replied, "After the wedding, things happened." Mina had been accepted neither as a member of the family nor as a resident of the village. There were too many differences in daily customs and culture, but the one thing that made Mina too different from the tiny village was the brown color of her skin. If only she could speak with the people. Mina is trying her best to learn our language, but my mother and the other relatives make no attempt to learn hers. Not so much as a good morning or a thank you. They insist it's up to the daughter-in-law to do all the adapting. Still, Mina was working hard to draw closer to Alex's family and birthplace. She would be the first one out to the fields in the morning, work without break until the sun went down, and do sewing until late at night. She would try to talk to people in the local dialect that Alex had taught her, using gestures and body language, and she would apologize profusely with abject smiles whenever she failed to understand what they were saying. Kaim could imagine Mina going through these exertions, which made Alex's report all the more painful to him. "You should come visit us now and then, Kaim. Mina would love to see you too." Kaim responded vaguely with a silent nod. When Alex added, "I want you to come and cheer her up," he said nothing in reply. "What's wrong, Kaim? Are you angry?" "I'm not going to visit." "Why not?" "You promised me you would make her happy, remember? We agreed that you're the only one that can do that. But still..." "Sorry, I haven't got time for this. I have to get the ship loaded before it sets sail at sunset." With his curt dismissal, Kaim turned away and continued working. Alex stared at him from behind, looking frustrated and confused. Kaim could feel his friend's gaze on his back. Because he could feel it, he kept working without another backward glance. Eventually, Alex gave up and left. Neither man spoke words of farewell. A year after the wedding, Mina gave birth to a son. The boy had brown skin like his mother. He had just started crawling when Alex visited Kaim again. There was talk of a divorce, Alex said. "There's nothing wrong with our relationship. Mina and I love each other, that's for certain. But mother and the relatives say there's no way they can accept a brown-skinned child as the family heir. His existence supposedly harms the marriage prospects of my younger brother and sister, too. So they want us to send the baby to Mina's family. It's gone that far." Alex had lost a great deal of weight. He was obviously living with much pain every day, trapped as he was between his family and Mina. None of this made sense to Kaim. However trapped Alex may be, as long as he was firm on what was important to him, there could only be one answer to his family's demands, and they should be able to arrive at it without anguish or confusion. "I know how strong you are," Alex sighed, speaking to Kaim's back as Kaim went on hoisting huge, spine-snapping crates in silence. The longshoremen here were well paid for handling crates on their own, loads that it would take 3 ordinary men to lift. The daily wage was calculated by the number of loads each man lifted, so asking for help would result in a pay cut. For this reason, Kaim and the others never complained or asked for help. They would lift even the heaviest loads by themselves. Alex had been like that too. If someone nearby had asked, "Are you going to be okay with that?" he would be all the more determined to do it on his own. "Fine, fine," he would say. He would smile and grit his teeth. He would lift the giant load. But Alex was not like that anymore. I'm starting to think that, maybe, in the long run, tying Mina down to a life in my village is just going to make her unhappy. My relatives say they'll support Mina and the baby, so it's not as if I'd be abandoning her or chasing her away. It's just that for both our sakes, starting a new life..." Having finished the crates on deck, Kaim turned toward Alex for the first time. He was looking down at Alex on the pier. "And you're all right with that? Huh? If you're convinced it's the right thing, then go ahead and do it. It's not for me to interfere." Alex's feature distorted under the impact of Kaim's words. Kaim said nothing more, but went back to work. His anger and frustration were reaching the boiling point. Alex had no idea that Mina had been writing to Kaim on occasion since shortly after the wedding, about the hardship she'd been facing in the home of her husband's family. She said not a word. Instead, she would spell out how happy her current life was and declare repeatedly how much Alex loved her. And always the letters would end like this. I'm sure you, too, must be living happily, Kaim. This was why Alex's report of the situation at home had filled him with such intense anger and frustration. He had never answered Mina's letters. He had felt certain that if he were to write to her, whether with words of encouragement or comfort, or even playing along with her sad lies, something important that gave her spiritual support would snap in two. Come see the baby, Kaim, Alex pleaded. Mina would be thrilled if you'd do that. Instead of responding to Alex, Kaim called out to him from on deck. See that crate over there? Can you lift it? The crate near Alex was one of the same size and weight as the one that Kaim had just loaded on the ship. In the old days, Alex would not have hesitated to carry it up to the ship, every muscle in his body shuddering. Now, however, Alex gave Kaim a timid glance and, smiling to hide his embarrassment, he said only, not me. Kaim said nothing more. He felt strongly that their long friendship had come to an end. Though in fact for Kaim, his life would go on through all eternity, it had been nothing more than a momentary acquaintance. Kaim has been on his endless journey ever since. Now and then he thinks back to those bygone days. Both Alex and Mina long ago came to dwell among his distant memories, the kind of memories that revive with a deep sense of bitterness. And they are there to this day. Alex made his third trip to see Kaim a year after the baby was born. Having wasted away to a mere shadow of his former self, Alex stared vacantly at Kaim, and his voice lacked all intonation as he announced Mina's death. She had killed herself, hanged herself in the barn. Kaim was amazed at his own detachment as he took in Alex's words. Mina's letters had stopped coming several months earlier. Either that she no longer needed to spin those sad lies about being accepted by Alex's family and the townsfolk, or she had lost the strength to invent them anymore. In effect, it was the latter, Kaim was now learning. To the very end, she could not make anyone accept her. My mother, my family, or the town, Alex said tearfully. She was all alone, finally to the very end. Without a word, Kaim punched Alex in the face. Alex seemed to know and accept the fact that the punch would be coming. He did nothing to resist or defend himself. The fist hit him full on and sent him sprawling in the road. Why? Kaim demanded to know. Why did you say she was all alone? And when Alex righted himself, he smashed him in the face again. Alex began coughing violently and uncontrollably, and when he spat up a glob of blood, a broken back tooth came out with it. Kaim knew well enough that Alex had been suffering too, that he had been engaged in a desperate struggle to do something about being trapped between family and wife. Otherwise, he would never have wasted away so dramatically from the brawny young man he used to be. As well as he knew this, however, Kaim could not forgive him. He had promised, he had given his word, he would make Mina happy. He would protect her. Kaim could never forgive Alex for failing to make good on his oath. Wiping the blood from his mouth, with the back of his hand, Alex dragged himself to his feet. I know how strong you are, he said to Kaim, as he had once before, but this time his words took on a far sadder tone. But let me tell you this, Kaim. My mother and my relatives and the others, their way of looking at things is not completely crazy. To live in peace and quiet in the country, you have to follow the country's special rules. It just so happens that one of those rules was not to accept a bride like mine. I was born and raised in that village, and I know the village code. Know it all too well, which is why I've been in such pain all these months. I'm a weakling, I suppose. In your eyes, I'm probably so weak you want to spit on me. So laugh at me, hit me, despise me if you want to. Come on, hit me again. Alex thrust his face at Kaim for more punishment, and Kaim threw another punch. This one landed squarely on his nose, and may have broken it. Alex crumpled to his knees. The blood that gushed from his nose was blacker than the blood from his mouth. Alex looked up at Kaim with a smile of self-derision. Mina should have been with you. That's what I think. If she had married you and not some weakling like me, she'd still be alive. With a wordless, strangled cry of rage, Kaim lunged at Alex, grabbing him by the collar and hoisting him to his feet. Another punch, and still another. Kaim was not planning to stop punching Alex. Now, though, with Kaim's hand still fastened to the front of his shirt, Alex looked straight at Kaim for the first time since coming to the dock. Why didn't you ever answer Mina's letters? That's all she was hoping for. A letter from you. So he knew. Alex knew everything. It's terrible out there in the country. Anyone who wants to can find out who wrote letters and who got them. Everybody out there is like family. Everybody but Mina, that is. If Alex had wanted to, he could have quashed Mina's letters easily. Then not one of her sad little eyes would have reached Kaim. But instead, Alex had read the letters, resealed the envelopes, and sent them to Kaim one after another. He had internalized Mina's sad little eyes and started looking for Kaim's answers even before she did. Kaim stopped his fist midair and asked, How could I possibly have answered her? Why not? You knew how trapped she was feeling. You must have known how much encouragement one word from you could have given her. But you were Mina's husband. Yes, that's true. But you were always the one deepest in her heart. I knew that. And because I knew it, there was only one thing I could do. No, that couldn't be. Astounded, Kaim lowered his fist as Alex said to him, I wrote to her. I pretended I was you and I wrote her letter after letter. Be strong, I told her. Keep your spirits up. I'll come to see you soon. You're too strong, Kaim, so you can't understand the feeling of weak people. But I don't have that problem. I'm weak. I understood how a weakling like Mina felt. Alex cried, the blood streaming from his nose and mouth. There's one thing I don't know, though, Kaim. I don't know whether Mina actually believed that the letters I wrote were from you, or whether she knew what I was doing and pretended to believe. I wonder, was life in my village so painful to her that she couldn't go on living there without pretending to believe? Kaim made no attempt to answer Alex's question. Slowly, he let the strength go out of his clenched fist and released his grip on Alex's shirt. Alex drew a step back from him and then took another step, putting distance between them before his final revelation. There was one letter, just one, that I didn't send to you. That was 3 months ago. It was the first letter in which Mina begged you for help. She said she wanted to run away and asked you to come and save her as soon as possible, to rescue her and the baby. That was the letter Alex threw away. Posing against Kaim, he wrote a 2-word answer. Be strong. The day after she read the letter from Alex, Mina hung herself in the barn. Kaim stood rooted to the spot, crestfallen. This left him momentarily defenseless. Alex shot past Alex shot his fist at Kaim's solar plexus, though his feeble blow could hardly be called a punch. The pain it inflicted might have been greater for Alex's own fist than for Kaim's superbly conditioned muscles. What an idiot I was. Be strong? Such words might have meant something to somebody like you. But to burden a weak person like Mina with them? No. They could only break her and crush her. Alex gave another tearful, self-disparaging smile and thrust his face toward Kaim. So hit me. I don't give a darn. Hit me all you want. Beat the heck out of me. But let me ask you this, Kaim. If I had sent her last letter to you, would you have finally answered that one? Would you have been able to accept Mina in all her weakness? Kaim did not know how to answer this question, nor did he raise... Kaim did not know how to answer this question, nor did he raise a clenched fist to Alex again. So ended the story of Kaim and Alex. Alex turned and walked away, but Kaim could not bring himself to call out to him. He simply stood there, drained of all emotion, and watched him go. Alex did, however, turn to face Kaim again when he had put enough distance between them so that Kaim could barely make out his voice. I can tell you this much, Kaim, he shouted. I'm going to raise that boy of mine. I'll make him a man. I'll make him into a man of my village. I may have been too weak to be a husband, but as a father I'll do better. I'll make him happy. Kaim returned his words with a silent nod. Alex allowed the hint of a smile to show on his badly swollen face. He then turned on his heels once more and strode away. Kaim never saw Alex again. Every now and then, Kaim remembers Alex and Mina as he proceeds on his endlessly long journey. When he thinks back on what he himself was like in those days, wanting only to be strong in all things, the memory is a bitter one. If only he had been the person he is today. The present day, Kaim would not have rejected such human weakness. Now he can accept the fact that, sometimes with a pained smile, sometimes with genuine heartbreak, that everyone is weak. If only he could begin his journey again. Mina might not have to die. But this is no more than a hopeless dream. He meets them only once, and they are gone forever. The mortals, the humans, the ones without eternal life. This is what makes them all the more dear to him. This is what makes his breast burn for them. Aware now that he has failed to love human weakness throughout his battles and his wanderings, Kaim turns his steps toward Alex's old village. Alex himself, of course, is long since dead. But Alex's descendants, he can tell at a glance. They have brown skin. Brown-skinned youths are the ones in charge of the village festivals. Brown-skinned old women teach girls how to weave floral decorations. Brown-skinned children and those who are not brown play together in all innocence, free of care. Perhaps this can comprise a tiny epilogue to the story of Alex, Kaim, and Mina. The graves of Alex and Mina lie side by side atop a low, wind-swept hill. Kaim picks flowers from the field and offers them at the doomed couple's graves before returning to the road. What is human strength, after all? Kaim still doesn't know the answer to this question, and this is why, again, today his journey must go on. End. Okay. Tell you, every time I read one of those, it hits home. I think that with 2 of those in here, we may have to end this episode. Oh, and is that a save point? Yep. And so, quite a story-driven episode. Quite a story-driven episode indeed. Now, if you like this and you want to see more, if you've been keeping up with our Let's Plays, then feel free to go ahead and click the like button. Leave us comments on what you enjoy about these, whether or not you are enjoying the Thousand Dreams, whether or not you're enjoying seeing the truth behind Kaim. Actually, it reminds me back to the instance where Jansen was needing a rest at the house, and Seth and Kaim could clearly go on. And Seth said that he was such a whiner. He said he needed a rest. Seth turned to Kaim and said, "What do we do now?" Kaim is not very good with people. That's clear. But now I see the type of person he is when he says, "We rest." And it's because his memories may be gone, but I think who he became isn't. And I think that's a great journey that is worth telling. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm so grateful that I get to read these to anyone who listen, that I get to play this game, this story, because this story of Lost Odyssey is a great journey. And I'm so glad that through technology I can share it with others. There are other great stories too. We recently started the Blue Dragon series, and if you're interested in that, then you can click on the link below or in the upper right hand corner. I'll also send the playlist to you at the end screen so that you can watch the full series as it unfolds. But to make sure that you keep up to date, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell notification and you'll get the new episodes as they come out. As always, I'm Ndonosci. Have fun.